I whipped my head around and saw some guy crouched down on the front porch looking through the window next to the door with one of my kitchen knives waiting for me to come out. Hey guys, what's cracking? Welcome back to my channel. So before we get into today's video, I need to give you guys a little bit of a life update. Just in case you're new here or if you haven't seen on Twitter or from my recent videos, I moved. I'm officially in my new apartment. It's wonderful. I've filmed a couple videos so far and it's actually quiet. There's no background noise that I get from being in an apartment complex that's busy with people who like to scream at all hours of the night. It's wonderful, guys. I'm so excited. Now, if you guys have been watching my channel for a minute, you would know that that old apartment is really spooky. And I do have a lot of paranormal updates for you guys, but I didn't want to talk about that in today's video. I need at least a couple of weeks to make sure all of that energy is settled before I revisit it and stir up any sort of haunting that still might be attached to me. So for this week's video, instead of talking about something paranormal, cursed, scary, haunted, or anything like that, well, it will be scary. I decided to talk about something that truly terrifies me. Real live human beings. I hate them. They are way scarier than ghosts or demons ever could be. Prove me wrong, I'm an introvert for a reason. And I don't think I'm the only one who feels this way. So for this week's video, we are reacting to the scariest Let's Not Meet stories that I could find on Reddit Let's Not Meet. Now, I have been a huge fan of the subreddit for a while, and last night I decided to go through their top of all time scary Let's Not Meet stories. And I found a few that I have not yet read. So I thought it would be fun to hop on here and react to them with you guys on camera. So without further ado, let's read some of the scariest Let's Not Meet stories on Reddit. This first one is titled Stranger Under the Bed. I hate it. I had just moved into my first apartment and was in the process of moving in. The door that led into my apartment locks itself automatically when closed. I would get locked out all of the time. So I was going to the entrance of the apartment complex to get my mail while talking on the phone with my boyfriend. I returned to my apartment and sat on the bed while opening my mail and using the phone. I dropped the phone on the floor and it landed under the bed, so I had to lie on the floor and stretch out for it. I saw something that caught my eye. There was someone under my bed. What would you do in that moment? Like, actually, what would you do? I'd probably honestly shit a brick. My eyes widened and I choked the urge to scream. The person under my bed was lying still with his back towards me and his face to his chest, so I couldn't see his face. Trying to be rational while so many thoughts rushed through my head, I picked up the phone and said, "Sorry, I dropped my phone. I'm just gonna take a shower and call you back." Why doesn't she stay on the phone with her boyfriend and like leave the apartment? Why did she get off of the phone? That is the last thing I would do. The bathroom is to the right of my bed, so I hastily walked in, quickly locked the door, and turned the shower on. Jumped out of my window, in parentheses, my apartment is on the first floor, and called the police. Okay, at least she did something right. She got the hell out of there and called authorities immediately. They told me to wait nearby, but to go across the street and see if anyone comes out of the door of the apartment complex. This happened during summer and it was still light out. I placed myself across the street, hiding behind a car while watching my open bathroom window in the entry door. I called my boyfriend and he came just before the police. I gave them my keys and they went inside. Only moments later, 2 cops came out holding a thin and tired looking man. His eyes looked crazy, but he didn't try to get away. See, that's what I mean. People are so freaking weird. Like, he was in her apartment and they went in to get him and he was just like, "Oh yeah, no big deal. Just going to prison now." The policeman that had stood beside me and comforted me while the police searched through my house. I was a mess, shivering and crying. I would be too. I want to cry right now. Told me that the man stood outside the bathroom door with one of my kitchen knives waiting for me to come out. This man had somehow crept into my entry door while I was getting my mail and hid under my bed. The man that was trying to hurt me turned out to be a homeless person and was placed in a mental health hospital. My boyfriend moved in with me the very next day. So, crazy homeless man, let's not meet again. People are so weird. I hate this. Okay, moving on to the next story. The man at my front door. I hate this. Okay. My parents built a house in the country when I was a kid. We were surrounded by 25 acres of trees on one side and cornfields on every other side. Okay, so just as like a disclaimer before I continue with this video, I currently am living in a house where I am surrounded by about 20 acres of trees and nothingness. So I'm not gonna sleep tonight. Fantastic, I'm so excited. One night when I was probably 9 years old, I was lying on the living room floor watching TV. My parents were asleep up on the second floor. Anyway, I was lying there in the dark on our emerald green 90s carpet, watching TV, and around 11, the light from our front steps suddenly went out. My mind would instantly go to demon trying to get into my house, and I would not go to the door. But that's where my mind is. I whipped my head around and saw some guy crouched down on the front porch looking through the window next to the door. Nope. No. 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 He had choppy dark hair and was wearing a white t-shirt. I felt him make eye contact with me, then he jumped up and started rattling the doorknob, which was unlocked. Why would your parents go to bed without locking the door? Why would you not lock the door? Am I the only one who's paranoid about locking my door? Luckily, the deadbolt was turned. Okay. Sorry to rip you a new asshole. I understand that you locked your door. I really do mean that I was lucky because no one I've ever lived with has cared about locking the doors. I retract my statement. I finally got up the nerve to run up the steps leading upstairs. They were right by the front door. That's fucking terrifying. That's when he started banging on the door. I scrambled upstairs and launched myself at my dad. My dad ran downstairs and managed to spot the guy running across our front yard toward one of the cornfields. I don't understand why he started banging on the door as if you were going to let him in. Like casually, I'm someone here to murder you, knock knock. My dad then went outside with his rifle and our dog to make sure he was gone, but he didn't run into the creek. We never saw that guy again. Oh, and the light bulb went out because he unscrewed the bulb. When I look back on it now, I wonder what his goal was. He had to have seen me from the light of the TV, and he kept going after I saw him. Was he trying to kidnap me? Was he a spectacularly crappy burglar? Was he a killer? Was he just some random guy on drugs? Or some combination of the above? That is going to keep me up tonight. I really hate that. I really hate that I live in the middle of nowhere now. Great. See, people are way worse than demons. Okay guys, so this is going to be the final story and it's called The Closing Shift Creep. This begins in 2011. I had just turned 24 with my cosmetology license. I began working at a hair salon down the street from my apartment. I lived in a very wealthy suburban neighborhood on the water. I called it the Sleepy Beach Town. Most nights I worked the front desk closing with my coworker, Becky. The salon was divided in 3 ways. There was a room to the left where the stylist cut and colored hair. The receptionist desk was on the right when you first walked in, and behind it there was a wall between the desk and the back room reserved for guest waiting, spa treatment, and shampooing. I had to approach from the side to get behind the desk. It started off as a typical night at the salon. There were 2 stylists finishing up a couple of clients in the stylist room, while I was busy training Becky on how to close out the cash register. The clock had just turned 6:30 p.m. and it was already dark when the man walked in. He was tall and a true silver fox with a full head of hair. He asked me if he could take a seat and wait. This was not a weird request in the salon since many women's husbands came to pick them up and waited until their wife's appointment was finished. I assumed this man was doing the same. 20 minutes passed and then he walked up right next to Becky and behind the counter. "Excuse me, sir, that's employees only area." He looked me up and down and says, "I've been waiting, but no one has showed up." I politely asked who he was waiting for and he replied, "You know," and winks. Ew! "No, sir, I don't. How can I help you? Are you both over 18? Excuse me." No, I would have called the police right then and there, asked him to leave, called my manager. That would not be happening. I would not deal with that. I have good money and I've been patiently waiting. Now I'm getting irritated. I want a massage and I want it now. Ew! 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 Fear had crept over me since he had started standing there, especially because he had his hands in his pocket, and because he had been hovering over me in an area with no escape. And then I noticed the handle of the knife sticking out of his fleece, and a wristband of a medical patient ID. I signaled for Becky to call 911, but she had been completely frozen. Come on, Becky! Come on! Now is not the time to be shy. Actually, now would probably be the time to be petrified in fear. I told the man that he needed to come to the front of the counter if he wanted me to begin his appointment. He slowly sauntered to the front of the counter. Then he leans in and softly says, "I like the dark shade of your lipstick you're wearing. Will you be wearing it for me?" That was when I grabbed the phone and made it very clear that I was calling 911. I quickly began giving a full description of him, including the wristband that I had noticed. He turned around and left out the front. I had this weird feeling that he wasn't done yet, so I just locked the entry door. A few minutes later, he came running up, stopped, and stared into my eyes. His eyes looked empty and careless with rage as he began punching the front door. He slowly turned and quickly started walking away. While this was going on, I told everyone to remain calm and said that it was being handled. She is handling this so well. I would have literally been crying my eyes out. Someone would have had to literally put me into an ambulance. Like, I would have died. Thankfully, the cops showed up immediately after and detained him. The officer had explained to me that he had escaped from a psychiatric hospital a few towns over and was looking for a happy ending massage parlor. Ew! During our weekly team meeting, the owner of the salon told me that what I did was, quote, not protocol, and that if it were to happen again, to get an adult to help. Excuse me, I'm 24 right now, and I feel like that's enough of an adult to be able to handle that situation, and she handled it, like, really well. Like I said, I would have been inconsolable. I left that salon shortly after, and I'm very happy with my career change into real estate. ... so far. So, creepy man escaping the psychiatric hospital for a quickie, let's not meet again. That last one was kind of bananas, and I cannot believe her boss did not thank her for how she handled it, because she did a really good job. Oh my god, people are so weird. People are so weird. People are so weird. Anyways, guys, I think that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I know it was a little bit different than what I normally do, but like I said, I needed a little bit of a change this week from the paranormal to something much more scary, which are real life human beings. Like, all of those people are still living in the world today, and that thought is terrifying. Anyways, guys, I think that's pretty much it for this video. If you made it all the way here to the end and liked what you saw, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. Also, leave a comment down below letting me know anything. Do you guys have any scary Let's Not Meet stories? If so, please leave them down below, because I would love to read them. Maybe if you guys like this video and have any of your own, we can do a reading of your scary Let's Not Meet stories, because that would be really cool. So if you're interested in that, definitely leave a comment down below with all of those. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. My name is Courtney. I run a paranormal channel here on YouTube. I like to play paranormal games, do 3 AM challenges, and go to haunted or abandoned locations to try and document those as well. So if those are topics you're interested in seeing more of, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on your bell so you are notified every single time that I upload. And with that said, I'll see you all next week for another new video. Bye.